Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. We went to her house on New Year's Eve. Those that went to our live last night for Christmas Eve, I didn't cook, and I think my cousin Erica, she's where Erica and them man live in?
Oklahoma.
No, she don't live in Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
She never did. We went to I don't think you went. She lived in Texas somewhere. But my cousin Erica, she provided me with groceries. And then my sister did what is that cart? She did some kind of Instacart with her and her son. Both her children was doing Instacart all yesterday. But she normally do a lot of big cooking. But we can say this year is hard. And we didn't do no preparation. We wasn't breaking the bank for those people out there in La La Land for society or the government or whoever being. We didn't go do no wild spending like we normally do. And a hint is we was able to share, if you would tell a lie, we was able to share personal things, life events that happened to a lot of us in our family that really still impact us emotional. And a lot of people is not aware that sometimes your action does not impact the people that you're sexually involved with in a relationship, and you break up and you don't get along anymore, don't communicate. They don't understand. I don't think people don't really realize it's not about the baby mama. It's not about the baby daddy or the father, mother, the son's father, the mother's father, however you want to classify yourself. They don't tell you how it impacts the whole family. Nobody never talk about that. And I really got on my live when everybody was sharing the experience about my son's father. I've never said anything negative about him, even when he was growing up. It was always positive, no matter how he treated me once I got pregnant. Before then, I was just golden. But it really hit home. I got to watch this because it had a little rot on it. So that's why you see me peeling the red onion. Some people say purple onion because it's like a purple hue. It really hit home when I realized and felt the emotions of my family and how they felt when I conceived my son or when I was going through the pregnancy with my son. Today, my cousin, I'm going to go back to this and I'll get back to that in a minute. Evidently, it was out of collard greens. In our family, we eat collard greens, mustard greens, and turnip greens. We mix them together. Only reason that we may eat mustard only, and that was the more of a tart kind. It requires a little bit more seasoning and added stuff to get the tart out of the greens. That's on time if the store don't have it. So evidently it was out of collard greens. So it's mustard, turnip greens. Mustard has that. You have to add some seasoning and some meats and flavors to get that little tart out of it. But anyway. What I'm doing is doing a last minute prep, because at the end of the day we still have to eat. She had pizza, and then yesterday when we left the business, because we left the business going straight to her home, and then yesterday when we left the business, because we left the business going straight to her home, and everything has changed in Dallas. Where it used to take 20 minutes to go from south side to north side, it takes anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour and a half to get from one side, when it only used to take 20 minutes. And that's due to us halved to get from one side when it only used to take 20 minutes. And that's due to us being the largest population now, because everybody moving from different countries, different states, because really the opportunity being the largest population now, because everybody moving from different countries, different states, because really the opportunity has always been here. I don't know why they just decided to shine the line up at on Texas. It's nothing new. The same opportunities was there in the 60s, 70s, and 40s, just like it is in the 80s and 90s and 2000. Now people, finally, a bell went off in everybody's head and they moving to Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas, whether they hate us or love us or not. At the end of the day, we normally prep all our food the day before, or a week before, or we may do it like 2 days before, or the day before, or we stay up all night. If we with family, it'd be a 2-day thing, and we'd be up all night cleaning, cutting, but basically picking greens. We usually pick greens, but when you have arthritis, sometimes it's best to just use a knife. That's just a shortcut. But anyway, and usually we would have a lot of family gatherings. Sometimes we'll go to one main family house, and we'll go all the way to Oklahoma, because that's where our main base of our family, on my mother and father's side. But anyway, last night it was just me, my sister, and my brother and her children, 3 boys, and the oldest son's fiance, and my son. My grandson wasn't there. I'm missing one grandson because the injustice of the legal system with CPS, as well as the state level. Shit happens to people that comes from good families, believe it or not. We're not perfect, but we come from a good family for as children, and making sure there's no harm or anything done. But if the men make up with women that is wild, and their family is wild, shit happens. Beyond your control. But anyway, and finances play a lot in the legal system. Believe it or not, if you ain't got no damn money, stay out of the damn trouble. Because the system is built to take finances. I don't care if you're guilty. You can walk away innocent because you got a good lawyer and you got money. That's the reality. But basically, our life was based on real life events. And then we talked a little bit about stuff that really didn't matter, but we familiar with it because we have been in the legal system and understanding how it works. I've worked there, as well as my family have been victims. It's victims in so many ways, and sometimes some have taken life trying to protect, and the system turned against us. So we're familiar on things that happen. So a little bit of the Tory Lane came up, but we don't weigh on those sides because we know how the legal system. We don't jump and say somebody guilty, and especially if you wasn't physically there. They can present all the evidence, and they can not have evidence and still do not know what actually transpired through conversation. They have limited information. Unless you was physically there watching it and hearing it with your eyes, and sometimes it's best not to even sway on either sides, because something that can appear a person is guilty, and they can be guilty because of their personality or their skin color, or we're going to take the skin color away. We can be guilty because they don't like how we react, or they don't like because you outspoken. A lot of times, some people are look like aggressive side, and that's just their personality, and that can play a part on how people view you. And of course, social media impacts the minds of a lot of people, and if they've never been in a situation, they don't need to know. They don't need to make comments, but they make comments that they don't know. And there's a lot of people, just because they're brown skinned, they're very opinionated about stuff that their family have not even been in that type of environment. And if you don't live in the hood and have not experienced it, a lot of times it's just best to say several seats back, because you don't know that environment and why people, no matter how much money they get, you don't know where their struggles come from and way that they think about how they think. The mind is a terrible thing. But anyway, on the live, I'm just giving you little highlights. We talked about different things. We talked about, even with my son, he's the only child. His father, me and him went off to college, but we went to the same college. But at the end of the day, just like my ex-husband, he came from the same college too. You can find a husband in college. Y'all looking for a husband, your young folks, you find you a husband from college. Or you can find him from a regular 9 to 5. It doesn't make a difference. There's good people everywhere. But anything, trauma, you never know how people are traumatized until you really have a sit-down talk with your family. And a lot of times we don't sit down and talk to our family. We get angry, we let that be. Now, me, at that time, I was 25 years old. I'm going to tell you a short story. I'm not going to go in detail. But I wasn't aware of what my little sister did. She was in high school at this time. And my son, she had already had a child at 16, 17, but somehow, I don't even know how she ended up with my son on the city bus. Evidently, my mother let her and her friend take my son out. at that time and have a good time or whatever. But she ended up coming across my son's father. I did not know that she was that divorced. For her to be jealous because she's the baby girl, she was jealous of the oldest grandchild. Her action shows it. It's like that hated love relationship. She the only child. You taking my mama from him, which is his grand, because he's the first grandchild. And at that time, I did not know that she had confronted his father. And we both have a stubborn spirit, but I think Aries is really more stubborn than a Leo. We have a little bit compassion. Aries tend to hide, and they will rebel dangerously. Unfortunately, they do. They hurt awkwardly. They can be in love, and they love doesn't show love. Their behavior, and they sometimes, depending on what age and maturity of a person, they make horrible decisions. That's what his father did. But talking on live, I realized just listening to my sister and brother, because she got on the bus and put my son in his face. We waiting on you. When you gonna this is your son. Do you know who I am? And he admits that he knew her. So it's amazing how people are trying to pretend like they don't know you. Or you a one night stand. I wasn't a one night stand, but that's the facade that he tried to make people believe because of his immaturity. If anything, I was a prize to him, not me a prize to him. But anyway, and then my brother talked. And he was so angry and upset. And this is 30 years later. You never know how it impacts individually. Now, his mother acted like she was just so grateful that that she was having another grandchild. And that's the lie that she told my mom. Rest of peace. She's in heaven. My mama's in heaven. But when she talked to me, it was a different thing. And then when my mama found out that she talked to me, that didn't go well. But verbally, it didn't go well. But anyway, people will say things in front of your parents and then turn back around and badmouth you behind your back or to your face when you don't have a system to support you. Unfortunately, that's how sin is. That's how life is. But anyway, I realized in that live, I had to take a step back and look how me having a child out of wedlock, and I'm a preacher girl, and that was more devastating than anything for someone to humiliate you. Now, he comes from the church too. Just because they come to church don't mean that they understand spiritually and biblically what their duties is. Some people just go just because their parents go, and they be 50, 60, 70, they just going in emotion. But I realized, this is red onion. I'm cutting this up. What am I cutting this up for? I got green bell peppers. My cousin bought these vegetables for me, but I know I'm going to put them in my greens. And then I have a roast that I'm going to put in the crock pot. And then I think I'm going to do sweet potatoes. Then I should even be doing all these potatoes. But something just tell me I just need to put some, I need to put some potatoes in this roast after I get through cooking. But I'm going to cook it in the crock pot because we did not cook, you all. We did not cook at all. And when I got there, she goes to this. My sister more like they take chances with their digestive system. I ate a couple of slices of pizza. My stomach regretted it. Rest assured this morning. But my thing is, I guess my stomach is stuck up. You know, a lot of us have those rich stomachs that can't eat anything. And so the pizza did not agree with me. I knew it wasn't going to agree, but I had to just take a couple of bites. We had already ate, and I ate some fries from Wingstop, but I didn't want the wings because there's something that's going on with that chicken. That chicken is not making me feel. I don't care where we buying it. It's something they doing with this chicken, y'all. And they can say prayer, prayer, prayer. God said, don't be a fool now. See, some people jump on the big wire. God protect me. God ain't got nothing to do with you destroying your temple. So they be lying on stuff like that. I'm going to eat it anyway. I'm going to do this anyway. God is not protecting you on that shenanigan bull crap. I don't know where they get that, try to justify religion to do stuff that's going to destroy their temple. But anyway, it's just something, even when I go to Chick-fil-A, y'all, the food is horrible. But I want to say this, even if you are here and you are in a situation and you and the baby father no longer communicate, or anything like that, what you want to do is try to open up some kind of connection. Somebody have to be mature. Somebody have to grow up. But all these years, you think that people, their behavior, that they don't care. They tell people lies or whatever the case may be. But their action is different. Because I'm going to say this. Me and my son was talking and he turned around and said, yeah, my daddy said that he was at the track meet. Now, me and him hadn't had any communications. I didn't stop him from seeing his son or anything. I'd never done. He was at the track meet. Now, me and him hadn't had any communications. I didn't stop him from seeing his son or anything. I'd never done. He was at the track meet. Now, me and him hadn't had any communications. I didn't stop him from seeing his son or anything. I'd never done. I'm going to wrap it in foil. I'm not going to just lay it in there so it can absorb the all. And then I'm gonna season, but I'm gonna show you what my mother used to do to prep her roast before putting it in the skillet. But I'm just doing all this little 5 things for those to give you. Everybody have different ideas on how they eat stuff. But anyway, when you do these family gatherings, you should be a time of healing. She even gave me peppers. It should be a time of healing, not just about Christmas. Sometimes those are the perfect time to talk about stuff. And it really touched me when I heard how my sister felt and how my brother felt and what they did on my behalf, or really not on my behalf, but on their nephew behalf. Even though my sister never shows it, because it's like a rivalry between them two, because her being a baby girl. And she want to be baby forever, but he ended up being the baby. In my mom's eyesight, grandparents always take up their grandchildren. Most grandparents, they love them hard. But to hear my brother was so furious because what he did, he went on his job and said, whenever you get a lunch, make sure he said, what time do you have lunch? And he said about around 12. So my brother waited around at his job and went off on him at the lunchtime to tell him that he needs to take care of his responsibility. You know that you've been there. See, there's men, young men, they'll do stuff for foolish reasons. Immaturity. Now, the good thing is, out of all this, even though this has been over 30-something years, he still he's began to communicate with his son and sort of doing things, and even with his grandchildren, and I'm grateful for that. Me and him don't talk like that, but I did have a chance to see him. I hadn't seen him long, and he said hello. Long time no see, and I just left it like that because it's gonna take more for him to do more than that to communicate with me. My son don't want to go, but I want to do this prep. But we're gonna go to my sister's house. I want you to know that I already did my sweet potatoes. I'm gonna go live on there too, because my grandson didn't get to do the things that we did on last night live on Christmas Eve. So I'm gonna get dressed, and I'll talk to y'all later. So run and get dressed, but I wanted to cover that. Have holidays. Make sure you love your family, because they only live once. Happy holidays. Tell everyone you love them to death, because we only live one life. No matter if you don't get along with them, learn to handle them with a long silver spoon. You can still be there and just give them limited time, because life is short. And no matter how close you get to death, even the people that you don't get along, somehow the Creator makes you still pass a path to give you a chance to communicate with them, to resolve whatever has happened between you all. You know, it don't mean you have to go back to being the same, but he gives us a time to meet each other, to communicate with each other. And it doesn't mean that you're going to reconnect and be best buddies, but or best family members, but you still need to know how to have a heart of forgiveness. You got to learn how to forgive. Is it back there, Ray?
Nope.
Oh, so I got a little more time. There must have been a car passing. Anytime a vehicle passed in front of our house, oh, Diamond going to act crazy. I always keep some water, dishwater near. Now over here, this just a pot of water. But over here is the greens that I put in this big old pot in cold water. This is all that I do. Since some people just, you know, you can get a knife and a sharp knife and go down here and throw this away. Never cook this. And so I just let them rinse in cool water. I put a little soapy water in here, not a lot, to clean off the greens. The reason you clean your greens with a little soap, not a lot, of this is because you're getting any bugs, any sap that may be on your greens. We let them soak in the water. Some people sit up and scrub them. And this just with the knife is just a quicker. It's not. I ain't gonna say quicker. It's just a better. Sometimes it's a better method because it gets most of the greens off. But you never want to cook this. This is not what we're eating. People that know how to cook greens, they'll talk about you leave that stem on. But this is what they're talking about, picking greens. This is what we used to do, picking greens. When my mother was alive, she would get maybe anywhere from 20 or more 30-gallon bags of greens, and have all the women, maybe you all that have come from large families, you can start this tradition. And that was a time of healing the women talking. And she'll have all the nieces, all the little young cousins that was old enough and mature enough at that age that need to talk about life or forgiveness or laying out whatever was going on in your life. There was a time that you come in the kitchen, you prep, you pull greens. Everybody will be pulling the greens and talking and healing. So if you have a large family, this is something that you should add to your tradition of the women, because really the root causes of a lot of problems in families is the women. Women is like a lot of, I don't know, it's just something about women. Too many women trying to be bosses. That's what it is. And we came from a family where there was a lot of women. Now there's a lot of young men and men in our family. And for whatever reason, my mother ended up having 2 daughters. I had 1 son. My daughter was the first child. She's deceased. But all the other ones, my sister had 3 boys. And the crazy part, we have boys, no girls. And that has been happening a lot, even with my mother's siblings. There's a lot of men. In the past, it was nothing but a house full of women. One auntie, she's the only one that never had boys. She has 7 girls. So all those 7 girls, except one of her child has never been able to have children. But all the rest of them, they have had boys and girls, host of them. So our nieces and nephews are cousins, or the generations that's gonna keep the bloodline DNA going. But when it comes to my mom, it's gonna take my son and prayerfully my sister's sons and my grandchildren to carry out the DNA for my mother's side. Because it ain't number 9 of us. I included 10 because of the sister-in-law, but technically with my mom, y'all need to, if you all have family, y'all need to start that brick. My mother's no longer here. My dad is no longer here. I have half siblings. I've never had a relationship because they've never been a part of my life. I live in Dallas. They live in Amarillo. And so that you want to cling on and leave all the bull crap. And then one thing I've learned about families, a lot of times why drama care, because they keep it going on from the past generation. If you all are in a generation that your families had grudges and they angry with each other, I suggest you, the new generation, do not take that mess. Let that be their mess. Because what happens is it'll just be a repeat of division. Though sometimes some family members have spirits of division. That's what they have, and chaos. I have one aunt that keep a division. Her child's been deceased. She only had one son, but she had always managed to manipulate every niece, to talk in their ear, and between four siblings of hers, it was 2 against 2. Then my mama died, and the other aunt died, which were the good aunties of my cousins, and left us with the last 2. But that oldest sister, she keeps chaos going. And usually it stems from behavior. She was a child that ran away from home. She was a child that ran away from home, got married. She never did finish high school. She just had that spirit in her, rebellious. And see, sometimes we have to realize, sometimes we birth children that comes in there with those bad behaviors. Nothing that you've done as a parent, you can't control it. And another thing I want to mention about the age of 12. I mentioned this in the video, the live feed last night, where we was all so angry. I was angry, not my sister then. I didn't know that my sister didn't have a Christmas. I don't believe it. I think she had a little bit more than me and my brother did, because my brother said so. Now, me and my brother's Christmas stopped very early. And what God has told me, even though my mother and them may have just stopped it financially wise, but spiritually, for those that are in religion, you think about Jesus, Yahshua, whatever name you want to call him, Yahweh, whatever the name it is, biblically, you know who I'm talking about, the Son of God. Not God, the Son of God. A lot of people get that mixed up. Son of God and God is not the, Jesus is not the same as the Creator. But anyway, I don't mean to give you a religious background, but I wanted to just put this on the minds and of being 12. And the number is a significant number. The number 12 is significant in the Bible of completeness. But then you always remember when Jesus was considered an adult. Even though society in the United States, they don't consider people being adult. That's when he separated from being a child. So when we don't teach our kids survival, when we don't teach our kids before they get 12 about reality, but what we do is try to baby them, and that's what creates issues in society, because we feel like they're too young, they don't need to know this. But some kids, it get exposed anyway. They wasn't saying that about Jesus at 12. Why do we have that spirit of not wanting to let go and let them grow? We're here to be born, to grow, experience things, to share, to love and care, and teach one another. And so what came to my mind is that I was so furious, because when I looked at that news station and I didn't see Santa coming to my house, I was very angry. And then my mother walked in. She said, "You supposed to be in bed." You supposed to be in bed. And that day was the last of my Christmas. She didn't buy anything. The most I got was socks and underwear. I got clothes yearly, so it wasn't like I didn't get anything throughout the year. It wasn't like she was neglecting me or anything like that. And then now, since we're older, it seemed like we used to do all the Merry Christmas celebration and all that. But when we began to know what our culture was and where we came from, we started trying to do the traditions of our people way. And still respect other people in their religions and their beliefs and their cultures. But when we knew the purpose, then it's like we're not running and going and buying up all this stuff. And then my sister would say, "Y'all," she told her kids, "Y'all ungrateful," but she kind of over the top, because her kids are grateful. She just spoiled. She just miss her kids and don't want them to grow up, and they're grown. But we touch a lot of topics, and our family, we don't have no filters on our mouth, and a lot of stuff may offend people, but it's not to offend you. The stuff that's serious to other people may not be serious to us. Certain words is a trigger for others, and they get offended. Where it may be in a joking way, in a conversation way, and it may offend some people. And that's what you have to learn to respect and understand that every household, their thought process and they way of life is totally different. Don't assume just because they brown skin, light skin, yellow, orange, that everybody have the same values and beliefs and interpretation of certain words, word usage. Where our family may joke around with it, and it may not be laughable to others, but like some words we might say, this is behaviors. And so we learn to say, hey, you don't want to act like this because that's that type of behavior. But anyway, all I'm doing is picking these greens. Like I said, I had already soaked these greens in water, soapy water. Not a lot of soap. Do not do that. And you rinse them. And there's nothing wrong with re-rinsing, because what you're doing, even though I'm picking, I'm making sure that there is no bugs on it. Because believe it or not, bugs be on here. And that sap from the bugs be stuck on there. If you ever went to somebody's house and ate their greens and it tastes gritty, most likely they didn't clean their greens well. You always want to clean your greens. For those that just came on, I really appreciate y'all. Please follow the top viewers, the top persons that possibly may be gifters, or just up there top viewing. I really appreciate those that are top viewers. Another thing, if you go to the grocery store, my cousin got these greens from Walmart. We usually eat organic, but you have to just pray over the food. That's all. But I was thankful because we're going to eat them regardless. Believe it or not, it looks like a lot of greens. By the time you put this in the water and this probably be barely 2 cups, to be honest. Looks can be deceiving. And that's the one thing about greens. It shrinks. So technically I have 5 bunches of greens. And I'm just pulling them. I can use a knife. If your hand's not hurting, you can use a knife. And see, like these greens are kind of wilted. Sometimes I don't even do that. I just set them aside so I can throw them away. That's how you know. If they're wilted, do not go in the store and buy wilted greens. That means they are overripe. They're getting ready to rot now. They're not going to last in your refrigerator at all. They will be shriveled. Another thing, rinse your greens when you bring them to the house. Because that's why they put water on them, because they need water. Water brings life. Water brings life, bring them back to life. They have to have water. So you sit them in the refrigerator and leaving them weeks and stuff like that, or a couple of days, they'll begin wilting and they won't be any good. They start rotting. Fresh greens are meant to be eaten technically immediately. What you can do, you can do like I'm doing right here. Get some Ziploc bags or some containers. Put it, once you clean them and peel them, what you can do is you can turn back around and freeze them. And then when you get ready to cook them again, all you got to do is pop them out of the refrigerator and cook them as usual. Add your seasoning and stuff like that. Put them in a pot, you good. This is called, for those that's not familiar, this is what they talk about picking greens. That's all it is. I already diced up what I'm going to put in there. Jalapenos, red onions, and I may put some yellow onions in there. It's not necessary to put in there. And since I don't have hog maws, neck bones, I know about those ways. But when you learn better, you have health problems, you got to use things that's going to give you long life. And me doing all that stuff like that will not give me long life if you have heart disease. It'll shorten your life. So what you want to do is use substitutes like olive oil, peanut oil, believe it or not, coconut oil, believe it or not, grapeseed oil. Those are the type of oils that you want to use. Those are the type of oils you want to use to give you that oil base. Your seasonings, like your salt and pepper, your thyme, is in different other seasonings is what make it taste flavorful. You get the same results. Hopefully everyone Christmas went well. Like I didn't see this green. You see your greens that has that. Some people just cut it away. But what I'm going to do is go on and set it aside. Because I don't want any wilted greens inside while I'm cooking. I'm picking. Sometimes you can't avoid that. Because sometimes when you buy greens in the grocery store, you can have a bunch of them. You can have a bunch of them and not see the wilted in between there. Some that has spoiled or rotten, basically. And another thing, you want to look on the inside of here because a lot of time what happens is the bugs and stuff and the sap, yellow sap or white sap, you can run your finger. Sometimes it be on this side rather than this side. So you just want to make sure that there's no type of bugs there. Usually you can feel it. Or sap, dirt. And because remember, this comes straight from the ground, from the farmers. And from the farmers, it has probably changed. Ain't no telling how many hands. Then by the time you get to the grocery store, somebody else can handle it. You want to always rinse your greens out. Don't assume that water that they sprinkling in the grocery store is cleaning your greens, because it's not. It's just keeping them alive and fresh until someone purchases. Okay. This is another one. See how wilted it is in it. Some people go on and put it in their pot. I'm not going to do that. It looks like a lot of greens, but it's not. Believe it or not. See, sometimes you can buy greens, and it could be a whole bad batch of greens. Then I have some celery over here that I have to use that I had for Thanksgiving. I'm going to try to see if I can salvage. It smells good. But I need this container right now, so I dumped them. I'm going to put the remaining ones in here. There's not that many of them. I really don't like how they look. That's the only thing when you do those shopping carts. People, when you're shopping through Uber Eats, Instacart. When you have people shopping from you, they don't know how to shop. And so sometimes you end up with nothing even at the end. Sometimes your money goes down the drain because they don't know how to shop for greens or veggies. What I'm going to do is take these through another rinse. See, it looked like it was a lot on live. Like I had a lot of greens. That was 5 bunches. And probably out of the 5 bunches, probably 1 bunch total was no good. And you want to rinse it in cold water. I'm going to go in and throw away stuff, still letting it build up, I go on and throw it away. Now, if you're into trying to create your gardening for bell peppers and stuff like that, you just put no seeds. You can make your own bell peppers that you bought at the store. Just break those seeds out, let them dry. Let them dry out because you don't want to put them in a bag and they start mildewing. So those seeds that's off on top of there is to make your own bell peppers. You can plant them in dirt. Some people say compost, but you can go buy you some dirt and make you some, start growing you some a bell pepper plant. During the pandemic, I bought up a lot of seeds. I don't think a lot of people was aware. During the pandemic, a lot of seeds were not available. And so I started buying up seeds that, you know, from the female side. Because there's male side, and what you need is a reproductive, not something that's genetic modified. Most stuff is genetic modified these days when you buy it in the stores, if it does not have any proper seeding. Most stuff is genetic modified these days when you buy it in the stores, if it does not have any proper seeding. It's really moving. I had to wrap a gift real quick for my grandson. It really is only what he asked, and my son just went and got him, y'all. So right now we're going to do the crock pot. I already turned it on high, but we're going to do the roast. I got to rinse it off. So I may turn to my back towards you all, but I just want you to know that I'm going to do a chuck roast. But I'm going to show you the preparations. And I got my boiling water for the greens back here. I'm only using these 2 eyes for right now. I'm going to move this crock pot later. But I'm just going to start boiling the water. This is a skillet with grease in it. I have a little grease off inside this lower skillet. This is the lower skillet. So, what I'm going to do is halt on one. Okay. The preparation for my roast. What I used to, you know, you see some people, they have meat hammer netters. Let me see if I can find one here. This is going to be a basic traditional roast. Some people use this and just poke holes in it, or they may purchase one of these and they bang it to tenderize it. That's all they do is bang it. Even though I still have it in the container, once I get through, I'm going to rinse it off. So if you wonder, why is she banging it in the plastic or in the container? She didn't even wash it off. She just went straight hammering. She gonna cook it like that? Hey, Frederick, is behind. It's right here. Behind. Okay, I had to show him where his son's gift at. Why is she doing that? That's nasty. No, it ain't. All I'm doing is tenderizing with the tenderizer. See, it has these. You can buy this. This is by Arnada. One of my best. I believe this is by Arnada. One of my best utensil products that I like. Brand. And you just beat it. Bang it. Bang it, bang it, bang it, bang it to help tenderize it. Some people, what they do, give me a hug. I'm on live. Move down and Merry Christmas. How was your Christmas?
Good. I got rollerblades.
You got rollerblades? That's good. That's a little tray. And so I just bang it, bang it, bang it. Those are just coming in. Some people, just knows in their business, kind of sort of. They take a knife and they stab it. They stab it. This is just an old, when you don't have all those fancy utensils, A knife would do, or a fork would do the same job.
This one, V-Bucks?
How much V-Bucks?
13,500.
You don't want them?
I do. May the joy of Christmas be yours.
I like children. It don't take much to please.
His holy birthday. I know this is yours, and I don't know this.
So this is all they do. So what I'm gonna do is go in and rinse this off in the sink.
Is there anything else? There's still another one there.
And I didn't rinse it in a container. I rinsed it off. I'm gonna place it in here. Some people, they go on and they season it on the inside. This is black ground pepper.
You're welcome. It's great.
I love you, Gray.
Thank you. I love you too. So will those V-Bucks and stuff get you what you need to do?
I'm about to go redeem them right now.
You're gonna go redeem them right now. So all I'm doing is just the basic roast. And I'm putting black pepper on both sides. Some people go to the extreme. They will put garlic inside, slice it up, do all kind of marination. I think I'm going to use the black cypress salt that I had told last live. This is how black cypress salt look.
We're going to do.
Yeah, y'all got to put y'all pajamas on first. Pajamas.
Saying pajamas, he ain't going to leave now.
What you mean? I'm just sprinkling it a little on here. And another thing, some people say, well, my mama did this. Guess what? I got you. Guess what? I'm getting the skillet hot. So this is a trick that some families do. They let the skillet get hot. I almost had an accident. They let the skillet get hot. These ceramic floors. But over here, I gotta use some flour. Now, another trick that you can do with the flour, I'm not gonna use all this. I'm just gonna sprinkle a little. Another thing that you can do with the flour, you can mix your seasonings. The pepper's getting to me, so one more we got. That black pepper ain't no joke. I had to go sneeze away from the camera and the food. But what some people do is they take the flour, they put all their seasons inside the flour, shake it up, mix it up well, and then they do that. It doesn't make a difference which way you do it. I'm looking for my fork. I might have to settle for a little regular fork. When I don't wash dishes, I can't find them because they don't put stuff back where it's supposed to be. So I'm gonna have to use a regular fork. I usually have a large fork where I can turn the meat over. So we're gonna use just the regular fork. You just want to make sure the salt is pretty much dissolving. You just want to make sure it's flour on the top and bottom of the roast. That's all you want to do is make sure that it's covered on both sides. I'm just sprinkling it. Because if you don't know anything, what happens is this flour makes a gravy base. It actually makes a gravy base, believe it or not. If you have a bag, some people call them turkey bags and stuff like that. What I want to do also, even though I could have did it before, I want to do some thyme. Once I found out about thyme and the properties, I want to put some thyme in there. So, how healthy it is. It's healthy for colds and a lot of stuff. Put some thyme in there. So, how healthy it is. It's healthy for colds and a lot of stuff. Put some thyme in there. So, how healthy it is. It's healthy for colds and a lot of stuff. Put some thyme in there. So, how healthy it is. It's healthy for colds and a lot of stuff. Fry. What I'm doing is allowing it to get golden brown on one side. You want to make it see the smoke is coming. I'm cutting it down a little bit because I don't want it to burn. But that what happens is the grease, the butter, the seasoning, all it does is make a coating for the gravy. The gravy that the roast make is from the flour and the seasoning. Right here is a flour pot. I said a flour pot. I mean a crock pot. I'm placing the foil on the inside. And I know that they have nowadays the fancy ones that cover it and everything. You can drop it in, but I don't have it. So I'm improvising with foil. So what I'm going to do is cover it on both sides. As a coating. I'm going to put 3 foils. It really is helping with spillage as well, but it helps with moisture as well. Keeping the moisture inside of your food. Your meat. I'm going to turn this over and look at it to see if it did any kind of brownness. If it's standing brown, it's like a light golden brown. I'm just turning to make sure. You always want to make sure the roast is in a large size skillet. You see how brown? Then you're going to flip it over and let it cook. You're not letting it cook all the way through. You're just letting it cook the top. And then you're going to place it in here. Some people add a little water in here, but sometimes this automatically makes juices itself. I'm going to cut the eye down because it's not going to require that much for this roast to cook. Then if you want to put celery in there, you can. Other veggies in there, you can. I'm going to rinse this celery off right here. I'm placing it underneath it. I put my veggies sometime underneath what the meat that I'm cooking, whether if it's a steak or not. See how it's still pink? Some people eat theirs like that. And I'm going to place the roast inside of the crock pot. Sometimes you can add a little water to help with the cooking. So what I'm doing is letting the water go around the sides for it to sing. Because I don't want it to burn. I want it to be able to capture all the moisture. Did you put this in the trash too? Mm-hmm. Some people saying, well, what about the lid? What about the lid? I always try to wash the lid off. Because when stuff settles, it settles on your dishes. If you hadn't used it in a while. So I want to make sure all the dirt is off of my lid. No different part off before you use it. And then another thing, even though I cut up some jalapenos, some red onions. You can put it underneath. Oh, y'all thought I wasn't gonna put no veggies on here. Oh, I'm doing it. And I'm gonna dump the rest inside of the water for the greens at the bottom. Because with the water is with the greens back here, I'm putting my seasonings in first. Everybody does it different. But what I wanted to do, and then I want to place the lid over here. I want to make sure the wrapping of the foil is closing the roast up. And sometimes you can put another thing of foil over if you just want to secure the moisture. Because you want what it, hopefully, we want to hope that that the roast be so moist that it turns apart. And you want to, if you're going to leave the house, keep it on low setting if you know you're going to be gone for a couple of hours. But if you're at the house and you can watch it, make sure you put it in a secure spot. I'm just closing it up so it can secure the moisture. And then I'm placing the lid over it. I'm going to keep putting it on medium high. Well, I'm going to put it on high since I'm at the house right now. But what I wanted to do, because I got red onions inside the water for the greens, I've already cut this out. Let me move this skillet because it takes up a lot of room by itself, this large skillet. Okay. I'm going to cut this yellow onion up. Now, I will advise, do not do what I'm just doing, but I'm on an eye that's not on. But that eye is hot over here. So I'm peeling the onions. They said, there you go again. You doing them onions and it's not burning your eyes? Nope. Because I don't have it directly in my eyes. It's away from my face. So I cut the ends for those that know. Cut both sides this way. And remember, you can slice going down to make onion rings and pull them apart. I'm going to throw the onions away. Make sure I don't drop any onions because it can be toxic to dogs if I'm not mistaken. So, this is if you want to make onion rings. And make an onion batter and dip them. But it doesn't make a difference how you slice or dice your onions if you're putting it in veggies. It ain't no right way. If you like your onions whole in your greens so it can blend in, and you just slice them in there. Put them in the water to cook. So I'm going to slide the pot up because this is my dominant eye, and cut it on high because it boils and it more heat element cooks faster on that one. You want to make sure you wipe your eyes down as well. So this is what happens when you didn't cook. Now it's almost 2 o'clock, 2 or 3 o'clock in Dallas, Texas Central Standard Time. Last minute cooking. But we gotta eat. Now, you say, well, what about the onions? You had it in that big old pot over there. You right. I gotta pour the water off because remember, I rinsed the water. I rinsed the greens, so I'm pouring the water off the greens. Some of the water. Okay, I'm going to put them over here. Okay, I have 2 pots. 2 pots. We're not doing meat. We're not adding meat, but you can. You can put neck bones in here. You can put turkey meat in here. You can put ham hocks in here. What else? Some people put pig feet, different stuff. Black meat is nothing but additional flavors, if no one didn't tell you. It's nothing spectacular other than it just give you more fulfilling and juices and greases and flavoring when you add meat. So I'm going to put this bunches of green in this water. The eyes on high. It looks like a lot. Now I could have sliced the greens up and made them smaller and shredded, but I'm not. I want them whole as possible. You say, well, that's too many greens. It's over the top. It's over the top. Never fear. That is not a lot of greens. You think it's a lot of greens just because it's up here? I have so much water. I have water up here. And even so, you want enough water in there so it can cook thoroughly. But remember, greens, veggies have water automatically in it. A lot of people don't really realize that when they're cooking, that greens have automatically natural water inside. So when you're cooking it, it's going to extract water out of it anyway. So since I pushed it down in the water because it's boiling and it's softening and it's all going to start mixing together. But I want to make sure I got all my greens out of here. Out of this pot, this rinse pot that I rinsed the greens out of. Pour the rest of the water away. And I'm going to put a little soap in this pot. Rinse it with hot water. Because I've cleaned greens in here. And set it over to dry. So far I have a crock pot on, which I have my greens, and then I have my greens, which is mustard and turnip greens. You said, well, you didn't put the oil in there. Well, some people have leftover bacon grease. If you don't have meat to give flavoring, they use the, why you see people in some homes, they have grease piled up inside a jar. It can be greases from different stuff. It's because it's an additional flavoring for certain type of vegetables or certain type of foods. Or sometimes they can use the grease, not bacon grease, but they can use greases to do different type of gravies and stuff like that. You left from bacon grease is okay to put in greens. People do that as an additional additive. Or you don't have it, if you don't have any other type of oil. Some people have to use Lord, some Crisco, vegetable oil, grapeseed oil, whatever oil you have. And what they do, since they don't have any meat, they just add a little to it. Not a lot, just a little. Because this is a lot of greens. So when you're limited and don't have any meats, that's what they do to add in there some oils. To just give it a little bit more perk. Now, another thing you can do, you have a choice to use habanero or it's another pepper. Where's that pepper? Okay, here we go. This is one of the most healthiest peppers, cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper? Yep, cayenne pepper. I'm gonna show you another trick. When you don't have sauce or you want to use seasoning, you can use. I'm gonna show you something else to use. I'm gonna put. Oops! I just spilled that on my skirt. My little dress. That dog get a hold of that. Ooh, her mouth is gonna be on fire. But I gotta clean up that mess before she get back. Try to come in here. I'm gonna use only barely 1/4 teaspoons of this cayenne pepper. Now I think I'm gonna do another one. It ain't gonna kill them. See, some people like little spicy greens, but we do it for the health purposes. When you get into natural foods, eating healthy, then when you start eating healthy foods, then you know that cayenne pepper, it cures a lot of stuff, and it wards off evil spirits, believe it or not. A lot of our herbs, even the I told her she think I dropped something, she's gonna try to come in here. I don't want your mouth to be on fire. I gotta do a little spot now. Out, little girl. Just because something fall on the floor don't mean it's for you. What I usually do is keep a mop always available so I can run it over the kitchen. Because accidents do occur in the kitchen, and that's just one of my habits. I have to mop before I cook, and I have to mop while I'm cooking. That's just a habit. So right now I'm cleaning up the little the cayenne pepper spill. But back to what I'm saying on this. You use habanero chipotle. Let me wash my hands. And because I handle a mop handle. Whew. Our water get hot. Okay. You can add habanero. I bet enough I already got some jalapenos in there. But the stuff I'm doing is very healthy. Another thing is apple cider vinegar. Believe it or not, even when you don't have salt, I should have put it in my meat. Because I do have some recipes that's dealing with apple cider vinegar, and I might still put in there. Another thing you can do, you can use apple cider vinegar to season your roast beef, chicken. It don't make a difference what you're eating. You can use it as a seasoning additive. So I'm going to put 1 tablespoon in here. People that have weight problem or trying to do diet issues, then it's okay to put 1 or 2 tablespoons in your greens. It's not going to kill you. It's healthy. And believe it or not, vinegar is another ward off evil spirits. When you research, you'll find out apple cider vinegar or wine vinegar. You put it in a dish, to my understanding, and put a little place to place somewhere. It'll dehydrate overnight. It wards off bad energy, bad spirits. I ain't got nothing. A lot of this stuff is traditional from different places, but a lot of things that we eat or that we think is just food has something to do with cleansing our souls, our spirits, and stuff, and warding off spirits. A lot of the seasons that we eat, you just think, oh, it's just food. No, them herbs are not just herbs. They're herbs to protect you. They're a protection to protect your home, your outside, from evil entities, even with people that have bad energy on them. So what you're consuming, what you place on your doorsteps, your windows, is not all about witches and stuff like that. Witches have their little thing going on and wizards and stuff like that. But when you dealing with native traditions or any type of cultural traditions, a lot of them have the same type of concept of what is on earth that's supposed to protect us. But we allow people to brainwash us to believe other things differently. It's how you use it. If people using it for evilness, then no, it's not right. Okay, out of all times, now I find my steak fork, my fork that I use. But what I do is usually try to push this down, the greens, to make sure all the blend in. I did put bell peppers. Want to make sure. I did put jalapeno peppers, red onions, yellow onions. I'm just mixing it in, pushing it down, and then I'm place lid. I put oil. I put a little. I told you them greens ain't nothing. I'm gonna show you. All them greens led up to nothing. Led up to nothing. They were right up here, and y'all thought I didn't have a big enough pot. I bet some of you all thought I didn't have a big enough pot. I know what I'm doing. I ain't new to this. I've been doing this. So I'm just mixing the greens up so I can get with all the other veggies. The onions is the veggies. The jalapenos is the veggies. So I'm just blending them in and mixing them. So I want to just peek in. I know this is not done yet, but when you have people that have weight issues, this is what making me think about it twice. About the because normally what I do when I'm doing the apple cider vinegar additives inside of my seasoning and stuff like that, is to help pull off those the stuff. That's all apple cider do is pull off stuff that you don't need in your stomach. And I wouldn't suggest people just to be drinking with water or just turning it up, because you got to understand anything you overdo can cause harm to you. It's doing it in moderation. It does work and it does help pull off weight, but you have to put in the work as well. And you have to eat healthy for it to work. Now, I've done this in the past where I normally cleanse my meat with the apple cider vinegar, let it soak in apple cider vinegar. No matter what meat I've done it with salmon, fish, and everything. But like a roast like this, I usually would have already added in there. But I'm gonna add that additive in here anyway because we have heart disease in our family. And my brother put on a little weight when he went in the hospital. That's something I don't like about hospitals. Hospitals can be something bad for you. And I want to say this, a lot of people, it's time for me to restock. You're supposed to have all kind of seasons that you least expect. It's seasons I've never used this off in here. I have never used it. I got plenty of seasons. But you always want to use stuff that you're not familiar with. But anyway, I'm going to put a lid on this. But what I was going to say, going to the hospital sometimes can be a bad thing if no one is managing your health. You can have a dietitian still not familiar with your DNA or what you should eat and what you should not eat. And so every time he would end up in the hospital, he'd be a normal size. I ain't got all that weight off of him. Got all that weight. Put him on my recipes or, adding a little apple cider vinegar, and then it pulls and it'll make him go to the bathroom, do number 2, get all that waste. A lot of people think it's fatty tissue. A lot of it is bowel back up. That's in your belly. Because if you notice, sometimes my stomach be bloated right out here, and then other times it goes back down because I've consumed the wrong type of foods. But adding apple cider vinegar helps pull all that waste. It's like you can use it as a cleanse, but you should not try to turn it up and drink it. I would say my suggestion is include it into your foods that you don't mind to have a salt base, a sour base foods. I'm not gonna say put it in no sweet based foods, but in a salt based food. Now, like I got this roast up here, I ain't took the lid off. I'm gonna put it in here because my brother used to me, and he said, "You gonna add it? It helps and aid him." Because they said one time, what was the lowest you got down in your weight?
190.
190, even went on that apple cider vinegar.
Mm-hmm.
And what was your weight before then? Like
220.
220 pounds. I got it on my Bragg's and apple cider vinegar. Bragg's and apple cider vinegar Facebook account. I have a group that's called Bragg's and I. Bragg's Apple ACV and I. And it has a couple of recipes and stuff like that on there, and things that dishes that I have cooked. They're delicious, and I've used apple cider vinegar. It's not necessary to do it in your roast, but when you're dealing with people that have health problems, weight problems, heart disease, and stuff like that, and you're trying to help them manage to get some of the toxic stuff out of their body, or the food that they've been cheating and eating, then I would suggest that you incorporate it inside of your veggies and stuff like that. Now, I do not recommend you to incorporate it in your sweet foods. No. That's a no-no. Only in things like vegetables and meats that you're trying to get a sweet and sour or salty light taste. I'm trying to think, what did I do with this lid? Okay, I washed it. That's what I did. I forgot. I always forget what I'm doing, but what I do is, even though it be in the pantry, I make dishwater to re-rinse it because dust and stuff could be accumulating if you hadn't used it in a while. I don't just grab my pots and pans and use them. I rinse them before I use them. It's just a good practice to do to clean stuff before you use it. Even though it's been washed, it still needs to, because settlement of dust and dirt, you never know, insects may have crawled on it. You don't know what's going on in your house. You're just assuming. So I'm going to put this lid on it. Now, the only thing, I have it on high, on the high setting, but you still want to leave a little crack. Because if you do it like this, it's going to make it boil real fast. This is just a quick tip. Why things boil over, because they cover it water base, liquid base, and what happens is that contraction sucks and it forces the water and the steam to push it up. It makes it boil faster. But I kind of like either tilt a pot or I leave it crack. Some people use the wood method. They'll put a wooden spoon or something to prevent spillage. But the only thing they have to do is leave enough ventilation. Other than that, can you think of any other seasonings I can put in here? You know, I'm a last minute person on seasoning. I'm gonna close up my cypress salt. If anybody want to know where this cypress salt come from, it comes in different other colors too. You can go.
Let's check this out.
Okay, you know I'm on live. Don't. My son got a plate from his son's mother. Most people would say baby mama's.
She gave all her son's father the plate.
She gave all her son's father a plate. Oh my goodness, y'all. That's something else. She put her heart in this for her son, all her fathers. She has 3 boys. And she sent me a plate. We'll see. This Brittany came a long way. Cooking for her family. That's how she look at it. She look at all of them as family. Let's see what Miss Brittany cooked for Christmas.
Bunch of YouTube.
She was on YouTube trying to cook.
Nah, that's what I was saying. She got damn prison tray and everything.
She got a prison. You call it a prison tray. That's some Targets of Walmart. They
Nah,
do
but
look like. I can't see it.
I'm trying not to get it on my fingers.
I don't have. Let me see. I have another kind of tray. Now, one thing I don't do is I don't do ham. You put it up here.
And you know I'm going back to being plant-based.
Let's see what the baby mama made her father. She made ham,
Greens,
collard greens, and onions,
cornbread,
and her yams, rice, and baked chicken. That's really sweet of her. That's real sweet. It's all about the thought.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
It's all about the thought. She did that for all her son's father. I know some of y'all are saying, is she trying to kill him off? Ooh.
That's what's up. Red said he ate. He said he ate the ham.
The son ate the ham.
First he ate the ham. He said I like the ham.
He liked the ham.
Wash your hands, but
He liked the ham. Use some dishwashing soap. He didn't like nothing else.
nah, he just said he only ate the ham.
He only ate ham. He just like you. Ain't that else?
Nah, he just said he only ate the ham.
He only ate ham. He just like you. Ain't that something? You used to do that all the time. My mom used to, even as a little baby, I gotta find a picture as a baby where he was a little bitty something. He wasn't even years old. I had put that ham on that table. He just was a little bitty something. He wasn't even years old. I had put that ham on that table. He just was a little bitty something. He wasn't even years old. I had put that ham on that table. He just